We are fast approaching the debut of AztecFast. Hello and welcome to Aztecs All In, the podcast that goes all in on San Diego State sports. I'm Louis Weiner along with Steve Perez, gearing up for kickoff Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium between Texas A&M Commerce and San Diego State.
Honestly, Louis, it's the first game, so you don't really know what to expect. As Coach Lewis said, the question is, who are we and who are they? And we will find that out on the football field.
Coming up on this edition of Aztecs All In, San Diego State football gets set to kick off the season, and that's going to be happening with a star running back off the field and injured.
Lewis, the opponent this week, hails from Commerce, Hunt County, the northern part of the great state of Texas on the eastern edge, and that's about as much as we know about him.
And we will hear from the three captains for San Diego State about the honor and privilege they have of being captains for this first season in Sean Lewis's tenure. And let's get right to it. Coach Lewis met with the media this week ahead of the first game. Steve had a chance to chat with him, and let's hear what he had to say.
Lewis, last November, remnants of the best-kept Thanksgiving leftovers were still being picked over when Sean Lewis was introduced to followers of the San Diego State University Aztecs football team. A lot has happened since then. The big picture, a wholesale turnover of the program. More than 50 new student athletes brought in on scholarship out of the 85 schollies available. New offense, new brand, mostly new coaching staff. Now here we are, a whole new season about to get underway. We'll talk more about the Week 1 opponent momentarily, but now you can't really go wrong by calling this one a transition year. The Mountain West media not expecting much. Personally, the thought is it's a big ask to think this much change is going to result in instant success, especially with a true freshman at quarterback. Yeah, winning 6 games or more and returning to bowl eligibility after last season's stumble would be nice, but at the very least, the hope is it's not a big ask that the Aztecs team fielded this season after all of this, puts up a good fight week in, week out, keeps the outcome in doubt until the clock runs out and the score is final. Lastly, on that note, I know fans these days have short attention spans and want to see the scoreboard light up with lots of offense. That's the intent and design of the Sean Lewis Aztecs fast approach. However, this is live football. It's not a video game played with a joystick and showed on a computer monitor. So dang it, the most important stat at the end of any football season in my book is the one-loss record. Brady Hoke, Rocky Long, they won more than they lost. They did it the old-fashioned way, with punishing defense and a ball control-oriented offense. In its prime, it was like watching a python slowly wring the life out of its prey, and then slowly digesting the bulge in its innards. My God, Lewis, it was beautiful. Toss out the COVID season in 2020, and during the Brady Hoke, Rocky Long, Hoke again era, beginning in 2009, the Aztecs only had 2 losing seasons. They shared a conference title in 2012. They won 2 outright in championship games. So Coach Lewis, the latest occupant of that chair in front of local media at the Fowler Center earlier this week, rightfully excited to talk up his team and invite anyone in town to get to Snapdragon Stadium on Saturday for what he described as a dangerous opponent in order to create an unbelievable home atmosphere, he says. The word to his team is control the controllables. Chief among them, he says, is focus.
This is going to be a first time for a lot of these guys, playing meaningful snaps in a role that a lot of these guys are not accustomed to. A lot of guys getting their first starts, and there's a lot of expectations. Their roles and responsibilities have grown, from where they were here last year in the past or where they were coming from, right? So literally their focus, right? Where are they putting their time, their effort, their energy all through this week leading up to the moment, and then being present in the moment on Saturday with an elite level of focus.
Now, unless something really unforeseen happens, looks like the ball will remain in freshman QB O'Neill's hands for the bulk of the game. Officially, the backup QB is listed as Javance Tupuola-Johnson or A.J. Duffy. Here's a compilation of Coach Lewis on the QB situation. He's making it clear O'Neill is the starter and pretty much putting the kibosh on fans seeing all three making an appearance in this game.
It's our job to put him in a great position to be successful. It's the job and the role of everyone within the organization in all three phases to be at their best, right? Knowing that this is going to be his first collegiate start and as a true freshman rolling through it, right? So that they can help him be better and so that he can help those around him be better. But, again, he's earned that opportunity and excited to lead him and guide him so that we can find success. Again, I've been very pleased with Javance's strides and the way that he has, really grown through this camp as we go into it. But really feel good, whether it's Javance or Duffy, if something were to happen to Danny, either one of those guys going in. So if we do our job in all three phases and, we get in a very advantageous situation. But again, this is a very worthy opponent that, I don't see that right now as I sit here on a Monday, that being in the cards.
On the two deeps this week, Louis, appear to be some slight changes on the offensive and defensive lines. Choose to wait at this point to see what unfolds during Game 1 before going into detail on that. But on that point throughout the roster, let's take a moment to hear from Coach on the constant competition at each position that has been his watchword since coming aboard.
No, there's definitely a difference, right? But we have some good competitive depth, and, we want to make sure that competition is always at the forefront of everything that we do. Again, there's that old saying that iron sharpens iron, right? Like, we're still, at this point in time, doing good on good so that we can get the speed of the game. Well, you obviously need to have, your scout periods with everything that you're doing as well. But we're never going to get away from, having a competitive, tough Tuesday practice, right, to where we know, like, hey, this is a work day, and we're going to do some good on good work and get the speed of the game, get our normal down and distance work in before we transition to scouts. But competing will always be a part of it. And I think that's an advantage not only for this Saturday as we move through the season, but for these kids to know and understand in life. You're going to have to compete and earn everything that you do, right? And so I want them to have that instilled in who they are and what they're about. And so that when they, get their degree and they go on and, have a great NFL career or they turn pro in something else, man, they're going to be ultimate competitors and, be relentless with that trait so they can be successful in all that they do.
It's safe to say that the way this team goes about its business on the field this season will be much different than in years past. No huddle offense, designed to keep the football and keep making first downs and running more plays on offense than your opponent. A Lewis coach team in 2021 set school records at Kent State for the number of plays run with 1,052. You run that many plays, you're bound to pile up the yardage on the ground and in the air, which they did. To do that, the emphasis since Lewis arrived has been on picking up the pace. I was curious how much he thought the team had advanced on the speed front since he came on campus, and here's what Coach Lou had to say.
Yeah, that first practice that we talked about in the spring, it was like watching paint dry, to where we're at now and how we're able to operate and the understanding and the execution. It's gotten really refined on both sides of the ball. To me, great teams communicate. And when you're at our practices and you can close your eyes and you can hear our guys talking and communicating pre-snap, the rate at which they're giving and receiving information has gotten exponentially better, which is going to be critical so that we can all be on the same page and execute 11 hats as one and do our jobs repeatedly, play after play after play after play come Saturday. So, yeah, that has gotten significantly better from where we started.
There's a different timing and look to game week from years past when afternoon practices were the norm. The team will meet up on Sunday. They will review game tape, get the positions graded out, most likely. They will learn from the experience, most hopefully. Coach Lewis says the amount of physical activity, such as weight training, will be based on the number of snaps played. And then Monday is a clean break from football, during which Lewis' intent is that his players take the opportunity to focus on their roles as students and get that part of their academic week started off in the right way. Tuesday is the start of a new week, rested, looking ahead to the next opponent in the windshield instead of looking back in the rearview mirror. Sounds like it will be a full-on pad-popping practice with the first teams going at it, and practices starting in the mornings and ending by 11 a.m. And multiple times, Coach Lou addressed the fans, who he hopes turn out for the start of a new Aztecs football tradition, Saturdays at Snapdragon. The first two seasons at this still newish stadium, Lewis, they have yet to generate that feeling that the place was packed to the rafters and rocking and putting the opponents on edge. Season 1 average about 21,000 through the turnstiles, though paid attendance was higher. Last season, the novelty had worn off, and the team's play on the field also failed to capture fans' attention. The stadium holds 32,500, so nowhere to go but up from there. Snapdragon has that potential. There have been times in decades past where the Aztecs fielded a winning team against a big-name opponent at the Q in a big game. A Falk-led team against USC. The Aztecs' first and only appearance in the Holiday Bowl. Atmosphere then was pretty electric. But San Diego fans in general seem wary of supporting a team just because they're the home team. There's a lot of transplants in this town from elsewhere, Louis. Okay, that's your cue to start honking on the Bay Area teams. Good Giants and the Niners. So if Louis wants that to happen, Coach Louis, Big Sean Louis, if he wants that to happen, the wins need to start piling up.
Well, Steve, I am a transplant. I moved to San Diego to go to San Diego State in 1980, but still a Niners fan, right? But I don't follow any other college team except the San Diego State Aztecs.
Right. I just sometimes wonder how big of a fan you would have been of the Niners and the Giants without all of those World Series rings and without all the Joe Montana glory years under Bill Walsh. Anyways, let's move on, because the other news from the Aztecs football team this season, going into this first game of the week, is that they have some team captains announced.
That's right, Steve. 2 transfers and 1 returning sophomore were honored this week by being named co-captains for the upcoming season. They are graduate transfer running back Marquez Cooper, sophomore transfer linebacker Tano Letuli, and returning SDSU edge rusher Trey White. It's important to note that these captains are voted on by the players, not the coaching staff. So that shows all 3 of these players have earned the respect of their teammates, exhibiting leadership, passion, talent, and the desire to win. Cooper is a transfer from Ball State who played under Sean Lewis for 3 years at Kent State. Letuli is a Cathedral Catholic grad who played parts of 11 games at Army last year as a true freshman. And White was the Aztecs Scout Team Player of the Year in 2022 under the Brady Hoke regime and is competing to start at one of the edge spots. Both Cooper and Letuli talked about what being named team captain means to them.
It felt incredible, coming on this team. I just wanted to produce the best way I can for this team. I did not think I would be able to gain the respect of my new coaches and my peers in this short amount of time. So to be voted as a captain meant the world to me. I wanted to be a captain for a long time. So to earn the trust of everybody to be a captain, I'm going to do everything I can every single day, like today, and every single week on game day to accomplish victory. I'm truly excited. I haven't felt this great going into any season, so I just feel amazing. I feel confident in the group of guys I got up front, in the play and the coaches that I've been with for a while now. So I'm very excited for this season.
It's been an honor. It's a real blessing for me, and I really feel that there's something special with this team, and I want to do everything that I can to bring that out every day. And I'm glad I was able to earn the trust of the team, and to be able to be named captain, it's an honor. That was a big aspect of coming home and back to picking San Diego State, and being able to be home and be around all my family and friends. It's definitely, it changes the experience, and it's been a blessing.
Cooper is expected to make an immediate impact on this new AztecFast offense. He comes in as the leading rusher in the FBS with 3,856 yards, and his 33 career rushing touchdowns also leads all active FBS rushers. Up until a few weeks ago, Cooper was in a battle with Kenon Christon to start the season opener against Texas A&M Commerce, but that battle ended abruptly when Christon was injured during the fall scrimmage at Snapdragon Stadium. He will be out for what's expected to be 6 to 8 weeks. That means the other running backs have to step it up, and they have the talent to do just that. All 3 returned from last year. While Cam Davis is also dealing with an injury, Lucky Sutton and Jalen Armstead are ready to go. Cooper says Christon's injury is a huge loss for the team.
Yeah, that was truly unfortunate for the whole room. We took a blow with that one, but Kenon's been very helpful as a coach. He has a lot of experience on his own, so he's able to share that in the meeting rooms, and he's also just able to be here scooting, and we see him. That gives us motivation because we don't want to be that guy, being hurt and stuff like that. So we're playing for him because this was his last year. So I'm going to give it my all every carry for him.
Christon was a dual threat on the field last season, rushing for 378 yards, and was the Aztecs' top returning pass catcher with 29 catches for 201 yards. Cooper says he learned a lot from Christon for the time they spent on the field together.
It was truly tremendous. It pushed me every single day. It made me want to finish in the end zone every single time I got the rock, because I seen a good burst of speed he had and stuff like that. So he truly helped me get faster, stronger in the weight room. Every single day he was, he was a pull-up king. He loved pull-ups. He could do about 20, 30 of them in a row. So he was a guy before he got injured. But we got good backs in the room with me, Jalen Armstead, Lucky, and Cam. So we're willing to do the work and very capable.
Steve, coaches are hopeful that Christon can get back on the field sometime this season. A 6-week recovery would get him back in time for the Aztecs' 5th game of the year, at home on October 5th against Hawaii.
So obviously, Louis, we did talk to Coach Lou about the loss of Kenon Christon, and this offense, of course, is predicated on trying to make big explosive plays. So without a guy like that on the field, he would obviously feel better about the running back situation instead of him being laid up from the ankle injury for 4 to 6 weeks, because Kenon is one of those explosive players. The running backs did go into this camp as one of the deep rooms, and while it is no longer such, Coach Lou says he still feels good about those who are ready to roll.
That's right, Steve. Running backs, a lot of experience. Lucky Sutton, Jalen Armstead, Cam Davis, all returning. And even with Kenon Christon out, that is still a position where San Diego State definitely has some strength.
Yeah, you would expect with the freshman quarterback to see a lot of ball carriers holding on to the ball, especially the ones with experience, because they know how to gain yards and not turn it over.
It's a mystery of sorts, right? We sort of know what we've seen during the scrimmages, but that's not going to be what we're seeing. There's going to be more to it than that. So whatever we think we're expecting, I think it'll be bigger and better.
With the wholesale turnover in the roster and the coaching staff, it's anyone's guess how it's actually going to manifest itself on the football field. We can say this safely. It will be vastly different than we're used to in years past.
I would agree with you there. Playing an opponent last year didn't do very well, ranked pretty low in offense, 1-9 on the season. And I think, according to Kirk Kenny in the UT, San Diego State is favored by 34.5 points. What do you think of that?
Again, it's the first game of the season for both teams. I would not be betting this one at all. To cover, to not cover. Lay off it, folks.
Well, 34.5 points. I would stay away from that one altogether. So what do you think we're going to see on both sides of the ball, Steve, with San Diego State opponent they're not really familiar with? I don't know if we ever even played them before.
No, they have never played each other in each of their respective schools' history. So it's one of those games where, yes, they play in the FCS. No, they did not have a good record the year before. But with all the movement in college football, they have a new quarterback, not a new quarterback, but a returning quarterback who was injured and missed all of last season. You really can't take that last record where they won just one game and say that's the same team that's going to take the field this year.
Yeah, and San Diego State starting Danny O'Neill, a true freshman, the first time a true freshman has ever started for San Diego State. So San Diego State playing a team that on paper doesn't seem to be a huge challenge, but again, you never know.
Well, here's the thing, Louis. It's a small enrollment school, 11,500. But if you're from Texas, that's pretty much the state. That's the birthplace of Friday Night Lights. They love their football from Pop Warner on, and that means even if you're not a big-name recruit, you're still tough and know how to handle yourself on the football field. So, as Coach Lou intimated, it would be foolish to overlook them. True TV is carrying this game, so an early 5 p.m. start at Snapdragon Stadium. This is the Lions' third year in D1, the football championship subdivision. They are not eligible even if they qualify as one of the 12 members of the Southland Conference until 2026. They have a big defensive guy named Max Epps, he was an AP 2023 first-team All-American in the FCS. He is a DB who registered 4 interceptions last season. That's tied for 10th in the nation. He is second in the nation in interception return yards with 150. He's got 3 pass breakups, 48 tackles on the season. So you really have to respect their defense. Their other big defensive guy, Jaden Rios, he was named to the second-team defense. And they have a linebacker, Brandon Tucker Jr., who's on the watch list for the Reese Senior Bowl game in the postseason. They have a quarterback who's coming back after injury, missing the season for a year in Eric Rodriguez, and he is expected to start against the Aztecs. The Lions have a winning record with him in the Division I era when he has been in the game, so he is a threat to either run, and he's also thrown for 16 TDs in the games that he has seen action in, and I believe it's like 7 games. So this is a team sort of similar to the Aztecs in that it's kind of been remade over in this new era where there's a lot of movement from players going to and from. Who are we? Who are they? We will find out this week.
Yeah, opening game, you never quite know what to expect. And both teams, of course, will want to put on a big show and come out with a win in the opening football game of the season.
I think if you listen to Coach Lou, I think he's off to a fast start. And that will be, to me, the tell in this game. If they can get off to a fast start and light the scoreboard up, then that is a big momentum builder that will propel them going forward. As you recall, last season, the Aztecs did not get off to a fast start on the offensive side of things, and they had a tendency to struggle from then on.
Absolutely. And, of course, we will bring you a updated post-game edition of Aztecs All In following the Texas A&M Commerce game on Saturday.
Right. I'm going to close this with this little bit from Coach Lou about what else Aztec fans can pay attention to when the offense has the ball, because everyone is obsessed with following who's got the ball, is the quarterback, is running back, where's this going? But, Lewis, it's important to note this is an 11-man game. It's the ultimate team game, and there's a lot going on away from it. And since this offense is a vast departure from the pro style of years past, here's what Coach Lou suggests fans take a look at when the Aztecs have the ball besides following the football. He says keep an eye out for the space in the offensive sets both horizontally and vertically. His offense is designed to stress the opposing defense on the field, and the hope is it creates space on the field to allow those on the field with the speed, running backs, the wide receivers, to operate in, puncture the defense, and create those explosive plays that everyone on the team and everyone in the stands and everyone following this game these days is looking out for, as opposed to the old way of doing things in the Aztecs regime, which was just pounding and pounding and pounding, hold on to the ball.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the speed of the game. And, of course, in practice, you can emulate it. But once you get on the field during an actual game, the speed of the game is going to be even faster. So it'll be interesting to see how the receivers respond to the pace, how the running backs do, how they do the substitutions in and out. And it's a chance for the coaches, too, to figure this out because they don't exactly know what it is they're going to get.
That's right. We will see, right? And that's probably a good note to sign off on. So, we will wait with bated breath, or in my case, breath that smells like bait.
I know, I'm in here recording right next to you, so I second that. I'm just kidding.
But we're waiting in anticipation of the new AztecFast era. Until then, we shall say thank you for joining us on Aztecs All In. You can follow us on the X at Aztecs_all_in. And haters can hate by emailing us aztecsallin@gmail.com. We, of course, remain too embarrassed to read all that fan mail that we continue to get. So for Louis Weiner, Steve Perez, thank you. We'll talk to you soon.